And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day, committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning. We've got legal advice here on the show today and so much more. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, and our number one goals are to educate, entertain, enlighten, and most importantly, we want to engage you in an effort to help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
We'd love for you to save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Give us a call, 813-670-7372. Bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A lot of information available for you over at our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors. We've got a lot of show partners there that can help you, everything from credit improvement to finances to, of course, heavy on real estate here, home services, all types of ways that we can help you with the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com. You can watch our live stream television show version of the show at consumerqb.com by clicking on the live stream. You can also send an email form contact directly to us if you have any questions, comments, concerns on the program. We would love to hear from you. And we had a lot of calls last week. We appreciate all those that reached out and called in and texted in, and we love to engage you. That's how we can help you. So Consumer Quarterback Show here. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. Jason Brooks back in studio. He's a mortgage expert with E-Mortgage Management and the Delbro team. Welcome in, sir.
Absolutely. Good to be here. Today we're just going to talk a little bit about what's happening with the market, what's happening with, the 10-year Treasury and what impact that has on interest rates. And also talk a little bit about what kind of products are coming in 2017, some of the changes that are, or 2018, I'm sorry, and some of the changes that are being made. So.
Yeah, look forward to that. Look forward to catching up. Also got an interesting story. Consumers and retailers win big over Thanksgiving holiday. Kind of coming in, all those numbers are coming in from the consumer shopping out there. So we'll talk about some numbers and what the average spending was per person. And also attorney Shawn Yesner in studio, bankruptcy, real estate law attorney Shawn Yesner, YesnerLaw.com. Welcome in.
Yeah, thanks for having me back again. We're going to be talking about the exciting world of bankruptcy. So, but we'll I'll see if I can take some of the stigma away and show people how to use it as a tool to help them make their lives better.
That's awesome. Also has the Crushing Debt podcast as well, very popular podcast now, and you have to check that out as well if you haven't seen it on iTunes there. You can check out his podcast. Also, Leo Cannyn back in studio, Principal Project Manager, Beryl Engineering. Welcome in.
Thanks for having me. To polarize with Shawn, I'm going to talk about people who have too much money and they want to use it to renovate their house.
There we go. So people that want to renovate, things that they can do, that also ties in with Jason through the renovation loans, the home style loans, different types of programs that buyers can do, because there's a lack of inventory, so that helps them find that property that may not be the perfect fit, but they can make it into that home that they like by utilizing some of these other loan programs. And interesting story coming up here. Look, Santa, I Can Walk. Little girl walks for the first time after an operation to fix her spine. That's our feel-good story of the week and our Tell Me Something Good. We're also going to have our expert contributors name popular holiday songs. We got our 5 popular holiday songs here in our Name That Tune for today. And we want to start you off with a little bit of an audible here. A little bit of a personal development audible. So great book I read. It was talking about phrases to watch for and things that people will sometimes say. The power of language. We've all talked about, or we've heard about that through different books. But here's some phrases to watch for, and we'll talk about the replacements for these languages as well, empowering languages. So number one is I want. When someone says I want, it basically means I lack. I wish. It says, but I'm not in control. It's a disempowering word. I need, because I ain't got it. I'm lacking resources, right? I don't have that. I should be, but I don't wanna. So I should do something. Tony Robbins has a great quote world of people are shooting all over themselves, especially this time of year when it comes to goal setting. And I can't, but I'm trying, but I'm not committed. I hope, which means it might happen, it might not. We're just kind of throwing it out there as a hope or a wish, which equals lacks faith. And I don't know, which slams the door shut. Anytime you say I don't know, it just pretty much slams the door shut, and your mind is going to shut it down at that point. So here's some great replacements for that. For empowering language, you want to say I have and I create. You want to say I'm grateful for, I'm appreciative of, I enjoy, and I can. Those are better empowering words. I choose, I love, I will, I appreciate. Those are all great words as well, empowering language. So words are powerful tools for connecting with each other, and use them and choose them wisely. Slow down and think about it. And speaking about, whenever you are in a position of, being asked questions, a lot of times we just simply will reply without thinking. It's an automated stimulus response that we have. It's a fast-paced life that we live. So I would urge you to develop the habit of slow thinking versus fast thinking, and giving that time to settle in your mind. So there's your 2-minute drill, the Consumer Quarterback Show, Audible there. And as a published author, professional speaker, we'd love for you to check out our book on Amazon. We'd love to speak to your organizations, your clubs, become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves, and check it out on Amazon.com. We'd love for you to check it out. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this interesting story I've got here in front of me, Jason. Consumers and retailers win big over the Thanksgiving holiday, and from good weather across the country to low unemployment, strong consumer confidence, the climate was right, literally and figuratively, for consumers to tackle their holiday shopping list and online. So from Washington, it's talking about from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, there are more than 174 million Americans shopped in stores and online during the just concluded holiday weekend, beating the 164 million estimated shoppers from a year earlier, according to the National Retail Federation and Prosper Insights and Analytics. Average spending per person over the 5-day period was $335, with 75% specifically going towards gifts. The biggest spenders were older millennials, 25 to 34 years old, at $419. So the consumer confidence is up. The economy's overall looking strong. We're still on that bull. What are you seeing on the mortgage side?
Yeah, so obviously the stock market really likes the fact that we should see a approved tax plan, sometime this week or before the end of the year. That's part of what's pushing the stock market. With the impact that that's having on mortgage rates is not good. Obviously, you have the typical. Right now, you have some suppression on the bond side, on the yield, and the yields going up. Therefore, rates are going with it. Last couple of days, we've seen interest rates tick up almost 1/4 point in just in a 2-day time frame. So that's a pretty big move in a since essentially last Friday. But at the end of the day, what goes up must come down. I mean, there's a lot of technical support that's going to help kind of alleviate that, and then we should see, in my opinion, things soften back up towards right at the end of the year. So again, there's a lot of things coming. Some big things coming. Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, they released their loan level increases, the loan limit increases for 2018. We are currently at 424/100 on a conforming product or conventional loan. It goes to 453, which is a pretty big move. That's the largest move I've actually seen in my career.
That's almost 30,000.
And also FHA locally for the Tri-County area went from 274 to 293, I believe it is. So that's a pretty big move too. So that's a big one because that makes some people eligible. There's a lot of people I see that are in that 315, 320 purchase price range that don't quite have the extra money to get it into an FHA transaction. And it would probably have been a better loan for them to begin with. So, there's a lot of it's going to open the door for a lot of people to be able to get in that little higher price point and still do it with a government insured loan. So,
yeah. So FHA, is that a larger percentage of the business that you're writing?
Actually, no. I mean, it's probably, I'd say about 25% of what I do is VA. Okay. And then maybe about 35% of that, 35 is going to be government insured, FHA or USDA for that matter. USDA is very limited in this area. And then the rest of it's conventional, so,
right.
But with the conventional buyer moving up into the 450 range now, that's, essentially 10% down on a $500,000 property versus 10% down on a $460,000 property, $470,000 property. So that's a pretty big move too.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some positives with that. Obviously, with our housing market, property values increasing, which is why those numbers are moving. And again, you have a lot of really good indicators from a market standpoint that our property values are going to continue to go up on a modest basis. So, if you're thinking about buying, if you're looking at buying, now's better than later. Rates are still historically low. We're still in the fours on a 30-year transaction, on a 30-year conventional product. So, now's a good time. If you wait a year, if you do the math, you wait a year and you're looking at a $400,000 price point, that $400,000 is going to be $415,000.
Yes.
And then on top of that, your 4.25 might be 4.75. That half a point in interest rate is equivalent to about $38,000 in interest. So between the loss of equity position versus the loss of an interest rate, I mean that waiting a year could cost you 40, 50 grand.
Yeah, multiple ways it's costing you money, and the market, just depending on what we're seeing. We've talked about the insights towards a commercial real estate slowdown with the movement of online retailers. A lot of of course, folks buying online. That's the trend. That has been the trend for a while. So on a Tampa Bay basis, the Gulf Coast of Florida, we're still seeing a lack of inventory. There's still low inventory levels, and you've got investors also fighting over the same properties when it comes to the investment side. So it's a really tough market. So what we want to do for the consumers is make sure they understand the importance of getting out and getting pre-approved in the beginning, finding out hey, here's the best way to get these properties under contract.
Yeah, and again, I can't stress enough, if you're not happy with where you're being approved at, if you're in a position where you feel like you need to be approved for a higher dollar amount, do not take the first person's word as gold. I mean, at the end of the day, I get it all day long. I mean, we do loans that, we had a loan that just came to us 2 days ago. They were pre-approved for $235,000. They were looking at a $300,000 price point. They were really unhappy that they had to drop back down to the $235,000 range. They weren't able to find anything. We were able to approve them at $330,000 using the exact same documentation that they had submitted to the other investor.
Wow.
We just, again, not all mortgage professionals and or companies are created equal. I mean, we don't have overlays. We can manually underwrite loans that other people just won't do. So it does, if you're not happy with what is happening, go see somebody else. Go talk to somebody else about it too.
And reach out to Jason Brooks, eMortgage Management, the Delbro team, our partner here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, longtime friend of the program, expert contributor, consumerqb.com or 813-670-7372. Any comments, concerns, questions you may have, 670-7372. You can call or text that line. And when we come back, we're going to have our expert contributors, more from our expert contributors here as well. We've got attorney Shawn Yesner, bankruptcy real estate attorney, and Leo Cannyn also in studio. Coming up later in the show, we've got our Name That Tune, our popular holiday songs, and we also have our Feel Good Story of the Week, a great story here. Look, Santa, I Can Walk. A little girl walks for the first time. We'll hear more about that and her story. So stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation. Visit Pasco County, Florida.
To the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by Platinum MVP Realty. A couple of hot listings from Platinum MVP Realty. 6508 Bimini Court, Apollo Beach. 6508 Bimini Court in beautiful Apollo Beach. This is a waterfront beauty. It's a perfect setup for a fisherman. If you're a fisherman, you're going to be able to shoot straight out one of those canals, saltwater canals, in your minutes out into the bay, and you go deep sea fishing right out there. Apollo Beach, $690,000. Beautiful buying opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 6508 Bimini Court, $690,000. Also got a nice starter unit here, condominium over 2614 Cove K Drive, right off of US 19 in Clearwater there. 1 bedroom, 1 bath property, $115,000. Great buying opportunity. This is a tennis court, marina community, and a lot to do. Clubhouse, restaurant, pro shops, tennis, sauna, fitness, pool, and jacuzzi here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Great place to live, work, and play is Tampa Bay. My button's not working. It was sticky. I had a sticky button. All right, back here in studio helping you win. Let's give a shout out to Signature Massage and Facial Spa in Tampa. Are you looking for a place to get a massage or a facial at an affordable price, but without having to sign up for membership? Look no further. At Signature Massage and Facial Spa, they offer a 1-hour sweetest massage for $49.95. Always no contracts. Come in early during the early bird hours and receive an additional $10 off for those muscles and knots that need extra work. Ask about getting a deep tissue or sports massage. And if skincare is what you're looking for, they have amazing facial and microderm packages. Check out Signature Massage and Facial Spa, 11248 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. Call 813-925-8898, 925-8898 to schedule an appointment. Now, they also have a 3 sweetest 1-hour gift certificates on their website for $99, like $33 a piece. Check them out. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you for a discount. You're going to get 10% discount off of your first service. All right, in studio today, we got Jason Brooks. He's a mortgage expert and mortgage management in the Delbro team. We've got attorney Shawn Yesner in the house, bankruptcy and real estate attorney for Yesner Law. YesnerLaw.com also has a popular Crushing Debt podcast. And Leo Cannyn, principal project manager for Beryl Engineering. So let's bring Shawn into the conversation. So Shawn, a lot of things happening. In this, we always talk about the economy economy out there and the economy between their ears, that is our listeners out there, our viewers of our TV show. A lot of things happening. Trump's tax plan. We have the net neutrality. Bitcoin. What's going on with all this? So there's the number one thing that I encourage people to do is like Stephen Covey said. Is you have this fear of concern, all these different things that you can think about, talk about at the water cooler, but ultimately when it comes to your family, your finances, you have this circle of influence that you can actually control. So that's what we urge our listeners to do, is control what they can control.
Yeah, and it's a lot about mindset. It's a lot about the law of attraction. So, recently released episode was with a friend of mine who's a business coach, a life coach, and we were talking. And one of the interesting things that came out as we were doing the interview for the podcast is she went back to, what are your belief systems? If you believe that money is the root of all evil, and you believe money is evil, you're not going to have very much money because you don't want it, thinking it's evil. Versus, for me in my business, I've always been at a point where if there was ever a point where money was a little bit tight, that next client would always come in and pay. That next thing, that next settlement, that next would always happen. And I've developed this belief that everything's going to be okay. And when money's a little bit tight, something happens and money shows up. And I see that play out again and again and again in my business, in bankruptcy court. I actually found, one of the episodes I wanted to talk about was episode 79, which was a recap I did of an article I read that talked about success rates in Chapter 13 cases. And so for those that don't know, the Chapter 13s, those are the repayment plans. We're going to pay the trustee every month some small amount of money, and the trustee is going to repay all the creditors some percentage on the dollar. And the article talked about the success rates. So the number of times that the borrowers, that the debtors, were able to make every single payment over a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year plan to the bankruptcy trustee. And it was interesting what the article found is that you're more successful, you're more likely to complete all your payments if you're a first-time filer versus if you file for the second or third or fourth after the previous cases were dismissed. So you file the first time, you're more successful to complete it to the end. If you are single and you file by yourself, or if you're married but you file by yourself, you're more likely to complete the plan than if you file jointly with your spouse. And there's a lot of different factors in there in terms of joint debts and all that kind of stuff. And then the other thing it looked at is, a small plug for me, you're more successful to complete your bankruptcy plan if you have an attorney versus if you don't have an attorney.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's not familiar to everybody. It's something I've done a bunch of times. I can help steer people through it. But it was interesting, even under the best case scenario, the success rates in Chapter 13 cases were hovering just above 50%.
Wow.
So just above half of everybody who's ever filed a Chapter 13. And I think the study was from like 2009 or 10 and to the present time. So it was only about a 6-year or 7-year period of time. But I thought it was funny that the best success rates were just over half were successfully completed.
Wow, yeah, these folks are in a bad position already. So money is a limited resource, and then they have the systems in place where if they follow the rules, if they go through with the Chapter 13, they're making their payments on a timely schedule. Depending on how long that is, I guess it could be multiple years.
Yeah, it's a minimum of 3, a maximum of 5.
3 to 5 years. So yeah, there was also something in the paper a few days ago about representing yourself in court.
Right.
Did you see that article on the Tampa Times?
He who represents himself in court has a fool for a client.
yeah. So of course, I didn't read the full article. I saw the headline, but it was talking about attorneys are against it. Of course they want to have the client retain them so they can properly help them through the process.
Well, and I know for me, I'm not against it because I want to make a living. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want to make a living.
Right.
But the biggest reason that I'm against somebody representing themselves, there's actually a couple different reasons. I mean, first of all, I know what I'm doing. I was at 3 years of law school. Next year I'm practicing 20 years. So I've done it before. I know what I'm doing, which sort of leads into the other thing of, I can change my own oil, but I'm going to let someone else do that so I can do something with my family.
That's right.
Or do work remotely, or I can do my own taxes.
Yep.
But I can mow my own lawn. My wife, keeps asking, why are we paying this lawn service when I could go out and mow the lawn? I said, well, do you want me to spend time with you and the kids on the weekend, or do you want me to mow the lawn?
Yeah.
And so, it's a function of let me do what I do to make a living so that you can do what you do to make a living.
Core competencies.
Right.
Yeah. Stay in your lane. Focus on your strengths.
Exactly.
Can I get you to give that speech to my wife?
It hasn't worked on mine yet, so when it does, I will.
Yeah. If you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Jason Brooks in the house. He's a mortgage expert. Shawn Yesner, attorney, real estate, bankruptcy law, and Leo Cannyn, principal project manager, Beryl Engineering. So Shawn, is there any changes or is there anything that's kind of coming up? Here we are sitting in Q4 2017, coming into this brand new year, 2018. What are you seeing?
Yeah, nothing really is on the horizon. I know this time last year we had a whole bunch of laws ending. We had some stuff going on in the mortgage space, but this year, so far, going into 2018, everything's just sort of been steady as she goes. I know locally here in the Tampa Bay market, we had a judge retire, and so I don't know if that judge position is going to get filled or if they're going to spread all that judge's cases over the other. We've got 5 or 6 bankruptcy judges here in Tampa. And I know I've been reading in the paper and online and whatnot, there's been some controversy over people that are being put up to get federal judgeships, by the White House and whatnot. But here locally in the area, we lost one judge. I don't know. He retired. I don't know that there's plans to replace him.
Yeah.
And so I think they're just going to, bankruptcy filings are down. So I think they're just going to spread his caseload over the other
So
judges.
BK filings are down right now. So what the courts that are busier, like the immigration courts, they're probably still backed up.
Well, yeah, and the Tampa Bay division of the bankruptcy court has been traditionally one of the more busy bankruptcy courts.
Interesting. All right, stay with us. Don't touch that dial. Consumer Quarterback Show coming up. We have our Name That Tune holiday episode here. Popular holiday songs on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our feel-good story of the week as well is, look, Santa, I can walk. A little girl walks for the first time after operation to fix her spine. And more from our expert contributors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region's #1 consumer advocate program here. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley, celebrity TV fitness host and creator of The Spin Gym. I'm here today with Brandon Rhymes, and you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Great ways to get happy, healthy, and wealthy.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by Platinum MVP Realty. If you're looking for any real estate properties foreclosure list, we have for a list of foreclosure properties that we can set you up with. Check out PlatinumMVPRealty.com. You can also do a search from PlatinumMVPRealty.com. Just search the MLS. You can check out some of our 40-plus in-house listings. And also giving a shout out to Brio Tuscan Grill. Our official restaurant partner is Brio Tuscan Grill. At the International Plaza, you will discover an Italian menu, signature drinks, and a cozy atmosphere, bringing the pleasures of a Tuscan country villa to Tampa. We invite you to make your reservation today and try out the wonderful Italian menu at Brio Tuscan Grill. International Plaza, signature drinks in a cozy atmosphere, and a very friendly staff over at Brio Tuscan Grill, our official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Back here in studio, we're going to help you win. In studio today, Jason Brooks, mortgage expert, E-Mortgage Management, and the Delbro team. Attorney Shawn Yesner, bankruptcy and real estate attorney, YesnerLaw.com, and Leo Cannyn, principal project manager for Beryl Engineering. Coming up, we have our Name That Tune, popular holiday songs on today's list of Name That Tune, and our feel-good story of the week. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's bring Leo into the conversation. So, Leo, principal project manager for Beryl Engineering. That's quite a title.
No, thank you.
What are you doing out there?
I'm just seeing a lot of lights out there. Everywhere I drive, there's lights on houses. There's lights on businesses, lights on trees. I was down on Bayshore the other day, up and down some of the streets by Swan. They just have the whole street decorated with lights. So
nice.
It is a fire hazard, but
yeah.
You gotta watch out for those red and blue lights behind you when you're driving in the car.
I've actually seen on the Bayshore, I've seen a couple of traffic accidents where people are looking to their right or left to look at the lights, and they just drive right into the median and drive up on the curb. Seen that a couple of times
Wow.
too. So it's a little insane out there, but yeah, seeing lots of lights out there this time of the year.
Distracted drivers here in Tampa Bay. And now when we think about Beryl Engineering, what are some ways that you can help our listeners out there?
Well, what we're doing right now is at the end of the year, people are trying to buy, and it's crazy, they want to buy a kitchen renovation or a bathroom upgrade for their wife or husband, or surprise them with it, so they need plans to do that. We come in there and do the inspection, and then we devise the plans that they can use for the building department. So we're seeing a lot of the renovations right now, upgrading the kitchens, going from Formica countertops to quartz or Corian. We're seeing the bathroom renovations. The best is when you renovate both your master bedroom and your bathroom and your kitchen at the same time with the same looks. Yep. You get that uniformity there. I'm sure that Jason can talk about it. The best way to add appraisal value to your house, other than planting trees, is the kitchen and the bathroom renovation.
Yeah, that or expanding on your square footage.
That too.
That's the number one. But yeah, kitchen and bathroom, that's the number. Those are the number one in internal.
We see this a lot in flips. The kitchen and bathroom is what's going to sell the house the fastest. The people are going to fall in love with the new kitchen, the new island, the huge backsplash, the fancy Moen type faucets that can dangle and turn on and off with your hands.
Yeah,
those are exciting things. But that's what we're seeing a lot of right now. Just at this time of the year. I mean, appliances are on great deals right now. Everyone's got their Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Purple Tuesday deals going on right now.
Yeah, all the different deals happening out there. Now, one of the biggest things, too, that I see, whenever I take a listing, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath listing, that's another big value adder right there. You can help people with that.
Yeah, it's really easy when you can slap a bathroom on the backside of another bathroom. That way you don't have to run new plumbing. You just have to tee off, or you just have to add a couple of junctions. We actually had a duplex the other day that they were renovating, and the bathrooms were stacked directly on top of each other. It was 2-story, and the kitchens were directly underneath each other, and all those were back to back. So they had to take the old galvanized piping out and put in the new PEX or the new PVC. And the estimate, you'd be thinking to do something like that's like $7,000 to $9,000, but because everything was so compact and in that area, all the plumbing could be replaced for $4,000.
Nice.
So location does matter when you're doing these renovations, as far as adding a bathroom or renovating a kitchen where things are located, and if you have to move things that can either raise your cost or reduce them.
Yeah, that's a big plus with the real estate space, is that, and we talk about the stock market, we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about a lot of these other alternative investments from time to time on the show, but that's one reason why the real estate asset class is such a popular class, because it can be insured. It's a viable asset that people have to live somewhere. So there's a lot of reasons why people want to be looking at real estate even harder in 2018.
Yeah, real estate it confuses me a little bit. It's the only asset that the older it gets, the more money it can be worth.
Right.
Everything
Yeah.
else is like the older something gets, the less money it's worth. I mean, they have appraisers and they do effective age and all that stuff, but there's a broad general statement.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to appreciate over time, and it's going to, on the tax side, you can depreciate certain assets as well. Real estate assets can be depreciated, but ultimately, long term, it's going to appreciate, and the value is going to be there. That's what we see.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I know for investors, we talk a lot. I'm not an accountant, so we talking in our groups and stuff about you depreciate your floating floors and your appliances under one rate. You appreciate your house on another, and they do all the tax magic, and they show you how you save money by doing that for the investment properties. So kind of makes sense to sell a house every 5 years under that because you use all your good depreciation up in advance.
Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we've seen in the news. We have Trump's tax plan. We have a big issue last week we talked about was the net neutrality. I know you said you've had some experience with that, not an expert, but we do like to talk about these things that are current.
Yeah, as a gamer, and I'm just throwing that out there as a hardcore video gamer at night, I'm kind of upset about net neutrality. I mean, some of the service providers are doing something called throttling right now, where they're looking at what services you're currently using, and they're kind of kicking some out. I was telling you before the show, I was in a chat room with 8 people while we were playing a popular first-person shooter, and all the people from Tampa in the chat room were kicked out of the chat room, but we were still in the game. And this happened 4 times in the course of 3 hours, and it was throttling. They're just the service provider, who we're not going to name, was just saying, "Hey, let's turn this one dial down and kick these services off." So you still have your internet experience, but your other experience is taken away, and that's what net neutrality is starting to do. If you're streaming like a Netflix or a Hulu type service, versus if you're downloading or you're file sharing through those torrent sites, they're going to be able to see what you're doing, and they're going to be able to turn dials off and on to be able to prevent you or eventually charge you more money for that.
Yeah, so it's a loss. Hopefully not, but the way it appears, it's going to be a loss for the consumer.
Oh, definitely.
A win for the big companies.
There's no way it can't be a loss for the consumer. They're going to either pay more for certain services or they're going to be throttled on certain services, so they won't be at the same speeds they're used to. And then there'll also be peak hours. I mean, there's so many different ways that once the companies figure out how to take advantage of the consumers, that they can do that.
Right. Yeah, I hate to see it. So many people are moving to that Netflix based, or there's even other alternatives out there. So more people are getting away from feeding the cable pig, paying the money that's traditionally going to the cable companies. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. Shawn, what about? Do you have any insights on that or any comments?
Yeah, I've just been sort of following it based on what I see, online, reading about it and whatnot. So I haven't really formed an opinion on it. But the question that I have is, it's my understanding that the net neutrality laws or rules only came into existence recently. And then they were
about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago. And so now they're taken away. Well, what about all that time prior to, we're in 2017, what about all that time prior to 2013? This didn't seem to be an issue. Now, and I don't disagree that it could be a boom for the businesses and against the consumers. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But then how do you reconcile that with prior to 2013? It didn't seem to be as big of an issue.
Good question.
Well, I mean, you have to think back in prior to 2013. I mean, how prevalent was there? Was only a Netflix. There wasn't Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. There wasn't all these other streaming services. Disney's going to have their own soon. So gaming was a lot smaller. You didn't have 4K programming. You didn't have 4K television coming out as well. So the internet's constantly changing really fast. So there's just a lot more content, a lot more different avenues for that content than there was in 2013.
Yeah, interesting. Yep. Jason, any comment on that?
Nope. I watch my DVR and that's it.
There you go.
I do, and I work.
What about
That's all I
Bitcoin?
do.
You guys get into Bitcoin? Do you do any Bitcoin yet?
Listen, I'm not going to share all my tricks, but I day trade, man. So I day trade and I trade at night. Nice. I do foreign currency. So I'd love to dig into that with you, but at the end of the day, that's pretty much the only internet space that I take is when I'm doing that, and that is extremely important for me, speed wise, because I have 4 monitors and things happening at a very fast pace. So I mean, seconds mean dollars. So.
That's right. Yeah. I remember in reading Tony Robbins' Money Master of the Game, he talked about how one corporation or one company or a group of companies from Chicago paid X amount of dollars to straighten the line to the New York Stock Exchange just to shave off those milliseconds of time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you get to that level and you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars over, a half a second is unbelievable how much money that is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Interesting when you look at that. All right, stay with us here, Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, we're going to jump into our Name That Tune segment, popular holiday songs. Our expert contributors are going to guess these songs. We have our feel-good story of the week as well. Look, Santa, I Can Walk. Little girl walked for the first time after operation to fix her spine here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. More from our expert contributors, and we're going to help you win in any marketplace. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation. Visit Pasco County, Florida.
At consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty, and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, top real estate agent in Tampa Bay. Hot listing here, brand new property just listed, 2-bedroom, 2 and 1/2 bath over at Arbor Oaks Court, 3428 Arbor Oaks Court in Tampa, $129,000. Check out the beautiful pictures online at our website, PlatinumMVPRealty.com, PlatinumMVPRealty.com. Check out the beautiful real estate photography compliments of Fabre Frameworks. They do a great job on all of our real estate photography. 3610 Casablanca Avenue on Clearwater Beach. Gorgeous property here just north of the Don Cesar. This is a rare find. It's a duplex on the north side of the Don Cesar Hotel. Tear down or build use existing. You literally walk across the streets and you're on the beach, and it's just south of the Hotel Zamora, our official restaurant partner there on St. Pete Beach, and a beautiful partner. The Consumer Quarterback Show is the Hotel Zamora, St. Pete Beach. It's a whitewashed Mediterranean palace, expansive luxury suites, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the Hotel Zamora. Now, make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and you're going to get 20% off of your room stay and your local staycation over at the Hotel Zamora on St. Pete Beach. All right, back here in studio helping you win in any marketplace, Jason Brooks. He's a mortgage expert for E-Mortgage Management, the Delbro team. attorney Shawn Yesner, bankruptcy and real estate attorney, YesnerLaw.com, Crushing Debt Podcast. I would urge you to check out his podcast, Crushing Debt Podcast. Leo Cannyn, principal project manager for Beryl Engineering. And let's go ahead and have some fun here. Let's jump into our Name That Tune.
Ladies and gentlemen, name that tune.
All right, so we have today's list includes popular holiday songs.
We got to get that with that little background music playing. We're all sitting here bouncing.
All right, here we go. Number 1. Here we go. So these songs are ranging from 1994 all the way back to 1957. All right, here we go.
Mariah Carey.
Yes.
All I Want for Christmas Is You.
That is correct. 1994. All right, number 2 on the list, 1961, taking it back to the old school.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Well, that's the name of the song.
Yeah, that's the name of the song.
Yeah.
I just don't know who sang
Jack
it.
Frost nipping.
I don't know if that's the name of the song. Let's see.
Oh, no. Anytime, Anywhere, Merry Christmas.
It's called The Christmas Song.
Yeah. Isn't that...
Nat King
I was
Cole.
gonna say, yeah.
Nat
I
King
kept
Cole.
thinking in my brain Bing Crosby, and I knew that was wrong.
All right, here we go. Number 3, 1997.
Is that Boyz II Men?
No.
I recently saw Boyz II Men at
That
Epcot
sounds like-
Live.
They good?
They were good. They were still great.
Boyz II Men. All right, that was 1997. Michael Bolton.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Wow, you confused Michael Bolton and
Boyz II Men. Yeah, there was only one voice.
He had a little soul flavor to him, though, didn't he?
Wow.
He sounded a little soulful. All right, here we go. Number 4. 1958.
I was going to say, we're back in the 50s now.
Rocking around.
Christmas
I have no idea who sings this.
I couldn't tell you that.
You got any 40s?
Brenda Lee.
I can name the 40s Christmas songs.
Brenda Lee. All right, number 5 is
Jingle bell, jingle bell,
another 1957.
jingle bell.
I can know all the words. I couldn't tell you anything about the song.
Yeah, the name of the artist is the difficult. So that one is Bobby Helms. Bobby Helms. Would have never known that
Bobby Helms.
Yeah.
He sang that Christmas song.
one. Yeah. All right. So back here in studio, hoping you win. Let's go ahead and do our feel-good story of the week. Every week we want to tell you something positive and give you some injection of positivity into your life.
Tell me something good.
All right, so look, Santa, I can walk. Little girl walks for first time after operation to fix her spine. This morning, viewers have moved to tears watching a 3-year-old girl walk unaided for the first time to meet Santa Claus. Esme Hodge from Bristol, England, was diagnosed with cerebral palsy and last year, until recently could only get around with the assistance of a wheelchair. But in September, she traveled to the U.S. for an operation to fix her spine, and last Sunday she took her first steps. Despite doctors' estimates of a 6 to 12 month recovery period, she has defied the odds, walking to Santa to declaring, "Look, Santa, I can walk." Her parents said it's the best Christmas present they've ever received. So here's your feel-good story of the week. So interesting, they came from Bristol, England, over to the United States for surgery. So
typically you go the other way around.
Yeah, it's
right?
usually we're going out of the country for a specialist. So.
Yeah, so feel-good story of the week. There you go. Let's jump into our lightning round.
The lightning round.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning round.
Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Jason Brooks.
All right. Spend as much money as you can during Christmas and then refinance and pay it all off. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It seems to happen every year. There's an influx of refinance transactions. And it would be a really good time to look to consolidate debt and put yourself into a shorter term, which would save you the most amount of money over the term of the loan. Typically, if you're carrying a lot of consumer debt, and you consolidate that with your mortgage, you go 15-year, you're actually saving money monthly and reducing your term, which is typically the best case scenario. So that's what you'd love to see.
Excellent.
Get it done.
That's right. Attorney Shawn Yesner.
I was thinking Jason was going to say spend as much money as you can over Christmas and then file bankruptcy in January.
Yeah, there you go.
You got to wait 6 months, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Isn't that
no,
the rule?
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. But What I was going to say is I give a free consultation, and most of my peers do as well. So if you have questions about bankruptcy, give us a call, schedule an appointment, sit down. Whether you hire me or not, let's at least have a conversation so you know how it works, and we take a lot of the stigma away from it.
That's right. Yeah. Sit down, understand the facts. You don't know what you don't know. Just sit down, have that conversation. Attorney Shawn Yesner, best in the business, longtime friend of the program here. ConsumerQB.com. Check out ConsumerQB.com for all of the contact information. Leo Cannyn, project manager, Beryl Engineering.
Let's see. It's Wednesday. It's about 5:50 p.m. I'm looking to Sherpa a fire team through a raid layer tonight. So hit me up on PSN, Leo Cannyn, LEOCAIN. Raid kicks off at 10:15 p.m. Hit me up on PSN if you're interested. LEOCAIN, looking to Sherpa a fire team through a raid layer.
Nice. I wish I knew what that meant.
English. I love it.
Let me give a shout out to Two Maids and a Mop right now. Our official cleaning company here at the Consumer Quarterback Show is Two Maids and a Mop. They provide excellent service. A clean house is going to make you feel better. It's going to release endorphins into your system. And Two Maids and a Mop offers free cleaning to cancer patients. They're very charitable, is Two Maids and a Mop. And with Two Maids and a Mop, your approval rating matters. The pay rate for the staff is based on your evaluation. If you need a cleaning company, it's Two Maids and a Mop. All right, back here in studio. So, and Shawn, that's also kind of attributing to what you were talking about earlier. Stick to your core competencies. Something that you're great at. Your time is going to be spent. And you can also do it where you calculate your hourly income. If you take the amount of money divided by, the amount of hours in the week, you come up with a figure. That number is going to be much more than you can pay a cleaning company or someone to wash your car or cut your grass. That's the key point.
Yeah, I was talking to a CPA friend of mine, and we had found that the Florida Department of Revenue had made, I think, like a $2 error in one of the returns for, I think, the law firm. And I was talking to him, and I said, it's $2 error. Let's go get him. And he's like, okay, you're going to pay me $125 to write a letter to the Department of Revenue to save $4. So what are we really fighting over here?
Right.
So it's what are your core competencies? What are you best at? What are you good at? How are you going to make your living? What are you going to spend your time on? What are you going to worry about?
Right.
Am I going to worry about $4, or am I going to worry about paying $125 to a CPA to take care of it for me?
Right. Yeah, stay in your lane, focus on the things that you do best, and outsource the rest. That's kind of the idea. Let's do another round of consumer tips, nuggets of advice.
Just to kind of piggyback off of what Shawn does. Filing bankruptcy it's there for the consumer. It's a consumer law. I mean, it's there to protect.
Right.
It's not the worst thing in the world. And one of the things that most people don't realize is, especially with the Chapter 13. If you do a 5-year structured repayment plan with a Chapter 13, typically about 18 months into that, in this area, the trustee will allow you to buy it out. So let's say you own a home, you have equity, but you're in a bad, financial position otherwise. You file Chapter 13. It's not to say that you have to keep it for 5 years or 4 years or whatever the structured repayment plan is. As long as you're making payments on time, typically within 18 to 24 months, the trustee will allow you to buy it out. And then you could literally refinance. And again, FHA and VA both, we can do what's called a bankruptcy buyout. It literally pays off the remaining balance of the bankruptcy and restructures their first mortgage. And there's no penalty. The rates are great. I mean, everything else is, it's just a typical FHA or VA loan. So I do those typically once or twice a year at least. And a lot of the times I've actually planned that in advance. So somebody who knows they're going to be filing could actually get out of it sooner.
So it's simple. It's pretty much like taking a cash out refinance.
It's exactly
putting it
what
to
it
that
is.
debt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's exactly what
using
it is.
your equity to pay out of that bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Parting words of wisdom, Shawn?
Yeah, no, I've done a handful of those as well for clients. That, I mean, the trick is they've got to make their payments on time. They've got to make regular
That's
payments.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, we can get to a point within the Chapter 13 where we can refinance, get them pay off the trustee, and they're done in less than 5 years. They've got their fresh start. And so that's why I said at the beginning, it's something that if we use it correctly, we can use it as a tool to eliminate debt, get them their fresh start. And now, one of my best success stories was a couple. The husband was a realtor, ironically, and the wife was a bookkeeper. We took them through a Chapter 7, a liquidation bankruptcy. Within 2 years, they were on a $300,000 house on a golf course.
Nice.
In South Florida, and living the life. They had no more debt anymore. They'd cleaned up their finances. Both of their businesses had taken off. They were making a ton of money. Everything was great.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's ways that help you win here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Excellent show today. Thanks so much for coming in, Jason Brooks, Shawn Yesner, Leo Cannyn. Thanks for coming in, and we want to thank you for listening and viewing our TV show on WeBeam TV. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food, some clothing, hand it to that person that you see in need. Donate it to a food bank. Be a force for good in the community, and we'll see you next time here at Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.